Whoa, what was that?
Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tim and Jim Show. I'm Tim Sohn here hanging out in the woods in Pennsylvania with Sohn Social Media Solutions, and I'm so excited for today's show with our amazing guest. But first, Jim Fuse, what's going on? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I told you. I think I don't know. It's because the weather changed. It's a little bit of allergies. I had to take my least favorite thing, which is Benadryl, but that's the only thing that works short of going to the doctor. But feeling a lot better today. So, how about uh, how about you? And we were supposed to have all this flash flooding, so I've been nervous, but I guess it's like hit the other spots, but not us yet. So fingers crossed that doesn't rain.
Yeah, I hope not. Here it's the weather forecast live from Pennsylvania is cloudy and
Chance of meatballs?
probably in the 60s. Welcome to the weather show.
Jeez,
Yes.
Tim.
Right? We both said the same thing. That's too funny.
Yes,
Oh, we obviously have kids.
Yes.
we
Yes.
do have kids, and if anybody wants a screaming goat sound, welcome to the show.
I just started watching Game of Thrones. Sorry, so that just reminded me of like the scream of the goat was. I don't know. Sorry.
Game of Thrones. Yes, that's a good show. Is
Yeah.
it your first time watching Game of Thrones?
Yes, I didn't have HBO at the time. I was too cheap. So now I have HBO Max on my smart TV because my son put it on there, and I was like, "Ooh!" So I just started it.
Yes. Oh, you'll like it. I won't ruin it for you. I watched it multiple times. It
Oh,
gets
okay.
better.
Yeah,
I'll just say
I'm
it gets
confused
better.
already. It's great.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome to the weather show and the Game of Thrones show, and we're
Yeah.
excited to have you, Raquel. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank
Tell us about yourself, Raquel. What do you do? Where are you from?
Oh gosh. Like I always tell people that's just like, yeah, you don't want to, that's like opening Pandora's box. I guess at the moment what I'm doing is I'm currently speaking with our youth. I'm giving them a platform. So I have a YouTube channel called Raq the Boat where I'm having conversations with kids. I have a youth social network, RAQVISION. And at the same time, I'm, essentially about to start like a full-time job because of the reality of that I need to be able to pay my bills. So it's really fun. I'm in that kind of like awesome space of still trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing with my life. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure like so many people right now are trying to figure out, like so many people are transitioning now, right? Like,
yeah,
what do we do now as whatever we're doing? I don't really know.
Yeah, and I'm very transparent about like my journey. So I had a panic attack last week because I was broke. So there you go. There you have it.
Oh no.
So it doesn't matter how many people you're connected with on social media or how many people you have following. It does not equate to money, people.
I definitely would agree with that. I think there's a lot more of that goes on than people admit.
Oh yeah, it's like, and then people think that that's what they need to do because they're like, oh, those people are clearly making money, and it's like, no, like do your research, folks, before you start like following people and wanting to be just like them.
Right, exactly. All right, so what we're gonna do is there's a workshop that myself and Nancy Barrows, Raquel's bestie, are putting on October 21st.
She's like hanging out.
Yeah, she's hanging out in the comments. So I'm just gonna play this video really quick that she put together, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Hey everyone, I am here to share with you about a complimentary professional workshop that Tim Sohn and I are hosting on October 21st, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Some of you might be thinking, professional workshop, and she's showing up in a t-shirt, her hair undone, no makeup on, glasses on her face. Well, I'm here to tell you that professional is personal. And in our workshop, why personal content is your most powerful tool, Tim and I are going to share with you why using personal content increases your engagement, increases your network, increases your business, increases your chances of achieving your personal goals. And so come along with us, enjoy the ride, spend some time, and let us share with you how to make personal content your most powerful tool. Look forward to seeing you. Registration link is in the comments.
So we would love to have you guys join us. The link is right down here, bit.ly/personal content workshop.
I'm signed up.
Yay, Raquel's going to be there. Nancy's going to be there. I'm going to be there. A whole bunch of people. So we would love for you to come as well. Jim, are you going to come?
When is it again?
It's October 21st at 5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 our time.
I'll have to see. I might be able to make it.
You might be out partying.
Yeah, right.
It is a Friday night, so you know.
Oh shoot! I might be
Yes.
out partying. I have no life. What am I doing? Who am I kidding?
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about personal branding and asking your community to support you and things like that. So, Mr. Jim, do you want to take away question number 1 for Raquel?
Yeah, sure. Raquel, how can we build trust within our communities?
Good question. So I know I like to always talk from experience on how I managed to do that. So for instance, I've been on LinkedIn for 8 years now, maybe going on 9. I don't know. But, when I first went on LinkedIn, I needed to obviously connect with people that I wanted in my community. So it was just being very intentional about the people in my network. And then slowly, I thought it was all had to be business. And this is why it's great that Tim and Nancy are doing this, because after several years, I realized how important it was to share personal content as well and show who I was. And so in that process, you build trust within your community, because if you're sharing things about yourself and you're trusting them, then they're going to trust you. It's like that mutual respect. I talk about how you really do need to respect your community. So for me, I did it at a very slow pace. I know now when people are coming onto the platform, it's quicker. Like someone like Nancy, who, she came on, I basically forced her to come on to LinkedIn. But when she came on, she was like all in, right? Which was great because she didn't really know better. She was like, I'm just going to be myself. For me, it was a process. It took a while for me to trust my community, but you have to do it in a genuine way. So for me, it took time and I didn't feel comfortable opening up right away. For someone like Nancy, she did, and that was great. And she was able to build trust in her community. So it's honoring what feels right to you. I feel like that's kind of the key at the end of the day. I think so many of us are quick to tell people how to do it. And if it just doesn't feel right for you, then your community is going to see that. They're going to see like, okay, she's not, or he's not being very real, or they're not being very real. Like it's forced. So how can I trust someone if I feel like they're not being genuine? So that's how I see it.
And do you also think like you have to be careful, because like you can also like, I guess, overshare?
Yes.
I think there's it's like that fine line, and I think it's different for each person.
It is very different, because I know for me, it took let's see, because it was 2 years ago that I finally actually shared something very personal on LinkedIn, but I had already been on the platform for almost 6 years. So I already felt like, okay, my community knows me well enough and I trust them enough to, if I'm going to share something really personal about myself and my mental health, then this is the time to do it. And so when I did do it, it was amazing how many people embraced me. Had I essentially done it at the start, I think maybe people would have been like, well, what are you doing? Right. But then again, I keep alluding to Nancy, because I feel like she and I were best friends, but we are so different, and the way we've approached things are so different. So I love being able to kind of show that there's different ways to do it. And that's what's great about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's all personal, then I think people will kind of be like, yeah, well, then what are you trying to do? Like, what's the point of you sharing just all personal? Like, are you not trying to gain business? Are you not trying to make money? And if that's the case, then yeah, then just share your shit. Like, but yeah, I mean, just like Nancy said, Radiant Real Beat, you don't have to share everything. I mean, there's things I haven't shared, and I struggle with that. And she and I have had conversations, and I've had conversations with other people like, hey, I'm very transparent, I'm very vulnerable, and I'm very honest, about things. But at the same time, there are things that I still need to keep sacred into myself, because I'm not ready to share those things, and I might not ever be. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm a fake or a phony. It just means that we also have to be able to have those boundaries for ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know if either one of you have had a chance to read the book Ditch the Act by Ryan Folan and Leonard Kim, but that's an amazing book. And he talks about that whole journey of, what to share and what not to share. Like, there are definitely some things that you probably should never share, maybe just in your closest, tightest circle. But I really found that book to be valuable because it is one of those things. Like, sometimes it's like, should I share this because it has nothing to do with my business?
Mm.
Do I share some of these personal things? And yeah, because sometimes it's gonna maybe create controversy, but then again, it's not our job to have everybody like us, right? It's our job that the
Mhm.
people that we care about, at least it's more to me, not even so, maybe likes even the wrong word, but it's respect. It's building that know, like, and trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're, like Nancy, she shared something very, very personal that a lot of people will be like, why are you so quick to share it? But at the same time, Nancy wants to be, she wants to keynote speak about her
Mhm.
experience and how she's overcome it. So there's intention behind it. She's not just sharing it just to share it. She's sharing it because, like, I
Yeah.
want to help other people in this situation. I want to help others be able to speak out about it. And I want to be that person that essentially paves the way for others to do it. So that's what's great about it, right? So when I shared about
Yeah.
my struggle with my mental health, and I had attempted suicide when I was in college and struggled with
Mhm.
depression, I shared it with the intention as well of, like, you know what, if I'm trying to empower other people, especially our youth, it's really important to talk about how, like, we've all had our struggles and how we've managed to overcome it, or what skills or tools do we have now to help us. So if you're adding value with it, then I think it makes sense. But if you're just saying it because you want attention, or because you want people to, I don't know, just know your personal life just to know it, then I think that's a little bit different.
Yeah, I think too, like for me, 3 months ago, I started sharing my leukemia story. I'm going to be celebrating living with leukemia for 15 years in December. And like, I didn't know where that was going to go. And a number of things came together that inspired me to do that. But now I have connected with so many other amazing survivors, especially on LinkedIn. And I'm connecting survivors to survivors on LinkedIn. And like, I think sometimes too, you don't know when you share your story, like you do want to have an intention, but like something may happen that you don't expect as a result of it as well, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Which is cool.
absolutely. That's what's cool about it too, is like, you never know. That's why, when you mentioned how it's like asking your community in the ask, it's like, unless you ask or tell people what it is that you need or want, like, nobody can read minds. It's funny how even in relationships, right? Like with your significant other, you get pissed off because they're like, they should have known. And it's like, no, they shouldn't have. If you didn't actually communicate with them what it is that you needed or wanted in that moment, how do you expect them to just figure it out? And it's the same thing with
Right.
our community and with business. It's like, you have to be able to vocalize those things. And that's something that I'm just learning now, because I've never been one to ask for help or ask. And I realized how important it is and how it's okay. And you'd be
Yeah.
amazed how many people will reach out and be like, you know what, I saw what your video, or I read your post, and I want to help. And it's really
Yeah.
cool when you suddenly get that response and you're like, okay, maybe I should have asked sooner.
Right. Yeah. I remember also recently, do you know Rachel Druckenmiller,
I
Raquel?
do. We've had a phone call. We're gonna try to meet because we're kind of local.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
because she just did a post the other day just like about the same thing, about asking for help,
Yeah.
like, and how it can help you, accomplish your goals faster and things
Yes,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but we should thank everyone who's tuning in. Dorothy is here from Canada. Hey, Dorothy, how's it going? Sean is here in Pennsylvania. Looking good, he says. Hey, Sean. Nancy's here, of course. Hey, Nancy. Shout out to LA. Elise is here from South Africa.
Ooh,
Thanks for being here, Elise. Russ Hedge. You were just on Russ Hedge's show.
I know.
He can't get enough of you, Raquel.
I thought if I should change, and I was like, screw it.
You look great.
Well, thanks.
Sure. Gabe is here. Hey, Gabe. It's great to see you. Stefan just did his 50th episode of the Spin It Social Hour, where he highlights amazing photographers from around the world.
Ooh.
He was in New York City live at an exhibit. I know it was nice to see people in person. So Stefan, your heart always shines through also. Thank you. And Senor Payasada is here. Yes. Shout out to him.
The queen of what? He's such a goof.
Yes. So Raquel, how often, like we were talking about personal content versus business content, like how often do you think we should post personal versus business? Like, is there some sort of like magical ratio or something, or like, how do you approach this?
I don't think there's like a magic ratio. I try to balance it out where if I have a couple personal ones and I'm like, okay, I got to throw in a business. Because also, as much as I don't try to follow an algorithm or any of that, I know how it works, especially on LinkedIn. Like, I'll sometimes, if I know that my posts haven't been getting, much engagement, which is fine because I'm not in pods. I don't tag people. Like I really, truly leave. I like put it out there and I'm like, whoever is meant to see it sees it. Like I try to keep it as organic as possible.
Love that.
So there are times where it just does. It's like hit or miss. And so, for instance, this last post I just did, it organically did extremely well. So on the heels of something like that, I'll probably go ahead and my next post be more business-y or have to do with what I'm trying to do with our youth, even though that was also, but I added like a personal element to it. I try to just kind of seesaw it a little bit. I think you kind of, you see what takes and doesn't with your community. Like that's another thing too, is you really get to know your audience. My audience or my community, they love to see me be goofy and be an idiot. Let's be real. Like if I do a serious post, people would be like,
what's wrong with you?
Who are you? What did you do with Raquel?
So I've also kind of learned like what my brand is. And so even with serious posts, I always have an element of like a laugh in there, or I make it funny. Like I somehow always manage to do that. Even when it was, I posted about Hispanic Heritage Month and it was Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And I brought them together. I said when they collide, and then it was serious, but it was funny as well. So I've managed to kind of get to know who I'm speaking to, and that's I think really important too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick 15-second break for a video from our sponsor, StreamYard, and we'll see you on the flip side. And we're dancing.
Oh gosh, you caught me mid-drink. Oh shit, sorry.
Welcome back to the Tim and Jim Show. We're here with Raquel Borras, and we're drinking our coffee and being goofy and having fun. And welcome back. We appreciate you all being here. Today we're talking about personal branding and making the ask and all those things. So Jim, do you want to take the next question for Raquel?
Yeah, Raquel, how can we find out what kind of content resonates with our audience on social media, especially like on days when Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp are down? No, you don't have to add that part.
Do you know my day went on just as usual? First of all, I don't have Facebook. Second of all, Instagram, I don't rely on that. Like, and then WhatsApp, I rarely use it. I use it for my, when I talk to my cousins in Mexico. So for me, it didn't affect me at all. But that being said, once again, it's like you kind of just mess around with your content and see what resonates with people. I mean, really, it's like a trial and error thing. That's how it was for me. And then once again, and that's when I realized that people will really engage when I share an experience of mine. And it's like, I give permission for people to share theirs. So then that to me, I equate that with really good engagement when people actually share their stories, like in the comments. So for instance, if I post something, the likes, the views, like that doesn't matter to me. It's what people are actually saying. And so then that's where you're going to really discover what it is that resonates with your audience for sure. But yeah, like if you post something, try to get that out of them, right? Because I think a lot of times people will post something that's it's like a dead end, right? It's just like a statement or something. And then people don't feel like they can really say anything. But if you open like, hey, how do you feel? Or this was my experience. Like, the other day I said, how many of you would pack up your bags and move across the country or to another country for love. And the reason why I did that post, because I wanted to, it gave the invitation to share what I experienced. Like, I moved across the country for my ex-husband. My mom moved to the States from Mexico for my dad. My cousin just moved here from Mexico for a boyfriend of hers. And I loved it because so many people shared how they had done the same thing. So then I got to really know my community too. There were some people that I had no clue that they had like moved 5 different countries for people. So yeah, like, have it be fun.
Yeah,
Like,
I moved to Atlanta from Eastern North Carolina when I got remarried, which is actually tomorrow is my 3-year anniversary of my
happy
second marriage for
anniversary.
person.
Okay. But yeah, like, I was just curious, and then at the end, obviously typical, wanted it to be funny. So I wrote the whole thing, and then at the end I said, courageous or just dumb? Like, being, do you think of it as a courageous thing to do that, or is it a stupid thing to do that? But yeah, it was really cool how many people shared their experiences. And to me, that's a win.
Yeah, what do you think, Jim, in terms of like what kind of content resonates with your audience on social media? Have you looked at that?
Well, it's interesting, and I somewhat think some of it is a algorithm. Like, if I share pictures on Facebook of things that have to do with either me or my family, I get a heck of a lot more engagement than if I like share, like, hey, the Tim and Jim show's coming on, in the personal thing.
You mean people don't get excited about the show?
I think it's
Is
the
that
algorithm.
possible?
I don't know what's wrong with them, but that's Facebook. I mean, I spend a lot of time on Twitter, as you know. That's probably my most active platform, and I love Twitter chats because you're able to just have conversations with people on different topics. And I don't know. I think video is really what I think resonates the most with the audience, and it's just a matter of figuring out, you don't want to get, depending on, not like with the show, but like if you're just bringing across some sort of a point, I think it needs to be, 5 minutes or less, sort of a thing, because people are usually scrolling, they're not expecting.
Except when they get to the Tim and Jim show, then they stop for
a
however
half
long it
hour
goes.
or so.
Well, I try to keep videos 2 minutes or less. I found that 2 minutes even seems to be like a good breaking point for me personally, the 2 minute. And they say too, you want to put captions on there, because most people, they say, I think like a good 85% or something watch their videos in unmuted, because a lot of them are in public places, and so they can't have the volume on. So that's another thing too. But I found with LinkedIn that with video, the algorithms have even changed with that. And that's a tricky thing as well, right? With LinkedIn, especially because that's just the platform that I know the most about. For instance, polls, they're pushing polls. So the algorithm is pushing those. So everybody's doing polls. I personally think I can't stand them. Like, that's just a personal opinion of mine. I've never posted a poll, and you will never find me posting one. Like, Michael Ray and I are both like, we're not doing it.
Make a poll today, Raquel, and ask, do you like polls? Yes or no?
I almost did that. Some people have done that. But so that's the thing, is like, I don't want to be doing a poll just because I know the algorithm is going to push it. Like, I'm just not that person. And video, same thing. Like, there was a point in time where the algorithm was pushing videos like crazy. So if you weren't doing a video, your posts weren't be seen. I was lucky because I love doing video. Like, I don't mind it at all. If anything, I feel like it really has, like, my point comes across because of just my mannerisms, the way I speak. Like, I'm super passionate when I talk about certain things. So for me, it's important to do video. But there was a point in time where my videos, like, the engagement and the viewership, like, dropped a lot, even with Michael, but it didn't stop me from doing it. Because once again, I needed to honor what feels right to me and what works for me, as opposed to the algorithm. Like, I just won't do that. And once again, like, personal opinion.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in terms of the algorithms. Like, I too don't like change automatically because, Facebook or whatever platform proclaims that whatever content is going to do the best, right? Like, a few years ago, Facebook said, live video is going to do the best. Now Facebook live videos are like,
oh, really?
No. Yeah. But LinkedIn, like, I get the best engagement on LinkedIn live videos now. So it's interesting to see like over
Well,
time what
well,
works
and
and
now
what doesn't.
they're making more change. Right now, you can do reels on Facebook, and
Oh, really?
Instagram TV as we
Really?
know it is going to go away, and it's just going to be like, I don't know. It's still going to be live video on Instagram, but it'll be in the feed, and it can be up to 60 minutes. But you can't like go live on Instagram like we in this format because they don't allow third-party software yet. So it's
Right.
kind of like
Yeah.
what is everyone, and then YouTube came out with
YouTube's
shorts.
also changing, right?
Yeah, YouTube is really wanting you to do these, 60-second or less videos because everybody's trying to compete with TikTok, and
Mhm.
I still haven't figured out the tick or the talk. I try to watch it a little bit,
I've
but
tried to do it and I stink at it. Like I really am awful. And not only that, like I have a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old, and I get made fun of by them and their friends all the time. And I know I shouldn't let it bother me, and I know I should just ignore the haters, which are my kids and
right?
but I don't know. It still like affects me knowing that my kids are like watching it and seeing their mom essentially make a fool of herself. And I know mom and dads and everybody does it and it's okay, but I still have an insecurity. Just saying. Like
Yes.
I still
I
want my
used
kids
to
to think I'm
yeah,
cool.
I fall into that whole dad joke category with my kids, so,
Yeah, so it's
they
it's
don't
still
like my
been a little
jokes.
bit tough for me, and it's amazing how many people are like, Raquel, you'd kill it on TikTok because you're so goofy and you love to dance and you're really creative. And I'm sure I could if I
Yeah.
really wanted to, but I'm just not ready yet. So just wait, folks.
Yeah, and let us know, you guys that are watching. Let us know what kind of content is resonating with your communities. We'd love to
Yeah.
know videos or like short videos or live videos or polls or whatever it is. We
Yeah,
would
I'm
love to know.
curious because that's the thing too.
Yeah.
Is I tell people that usually what resonates with you, like that's where you're going to put out there, right? So, like for me, I'm the
Yeah.
type of person where when I scroll, I love seeing things that make me laugh, and like I follow all those like on Instagram, some good news, Upworthy, anything that's feel good. I love it. So then that's kind of like what I put out there because that makes sense for me. So I feel like it's the same thing for the audience, right? Like if they love polls and that's what like sticks with them, then they're most likely gonna like be doing polls or videos, if you will.
Right.
I really am all about like just honoring yourself first. At the end, like
Yeah.
what feels right. Like just it's like funny how many people will tell me, "Oh, you need to do this or you need to be on that." I'm like, "No, I don't."
Yeah. I think
I
it's
talk,
funny.
but I don't talk.
Yes.
I don't.
Step in.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that means, but okay. So you made us
Oh my
laugh.
goodness. Yes. Thanks,
Yeah.
Stefan. Um, Raquel, talk to us about how important is giving in terms of your social media content and strategy? Like, how does giving play into all this?
Well, I think giving is huge. So that when you do make the ask, you feel like, okay, it's okay for me to ask because I've done so much giving, and that's essentially what I did during COVID. Is that I went out on my own in January to do personal branding. I left the corporate world, and then the pandemic hits, and I'm like, crap. No one's going to be hiring me, but I feel like I can still help and give. So I was that person, and I think it helped my presence and it helped me being on podcasts and lives because every day I essentially did like a video on a tip of like being on LinkedIn. So because I knew there were so many people jumping on the platform that had never been on it and had no clue. So then I was like, all right, I want to be kind of like the authority, if you will, being that I'd been on this platform for so many years. So then I would do videos of like, hey, if you're going to share a video from YouTube, don't put the link right there, like put it in the comments because LinkedIn's a social media platform as well. They want to keep you here. So that's what you're doing is you're taking people off of their platform. So their algorithms are going to push it down. Or if you're going to share someone's post, make sure you still have content because they don't want you sharing other people's content because they want your, things like that people I don't think realized. Tagging, all those little things. And I just gave it away for free, all of it. And now I feel like I can be like, hey, just like, what is it, Gary Vee, where he does the jab, jab, punch? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
like
So it's the give, and then ask. And I feel like I have given plenty and for free. So now it's like when I'm saying, hey, like this is great and all, but I really need your help, I don't feel very guilty, where maybe before I would have.
Right.
Yeah.
Raquel, do you want to talk about you recently did a video where you were pretty vulnerable and you were
Yes.
looking for help. You were asking your community for support. Do you want to talk about that? And do you want me to show that video?
You don't have to, because I look hideous. I like no makeup on. My hair was like a mess. I just like woken up earlier. No, you know what? I am glad I did it, even though when I did post it, I do still get a little bit of like, what did I just do? Because, you know, in the moment, I just say what I need to say. And I usually always do it in the first take, because that's where the realness is, right? Like if you keep doing takes, then it's a little bit more curated. And I don't like things to be too curated, especially if it's coming from the heart. So it was a one taker. And I was essentially just talking about like, hey, you know, I have this YouTube channel and everybody keeps saying they want to support me and they want to help. And then I keep saying you can help me by subscribing my YouTube channel, but nobody's doing it. Like I kind of called people out on it too, which, you know, some people are like, are you sure you want to do that? Yeah, I do want to do that because I want to be honest. Honest about like, hey, I'm just asking you to literally hit a subscribe button. That's all I'm asking, because at some point, then maybe it'll help me monetize the channel so that I can actually make money. So when I did that, it's amazing how many people reached out to me wanting to help. I had one guy who he has his own platform, and I'm not going to, like, obviously you have StreamYard, and StreamYard's a sponsor, but he has his own live streaming platform, and he's going to help me produce my LinkedIn Live. And like we're bartering essentially. Like I'm going to help him with some stuff. And so because I can't afford it, but I had never had him like or comment on any of my posts. I didn't know who this person was. And yet he reaches out. He's a cameraman. He's worked for NBC Sports. Like his resume is like pretty, like, yeah, the team he has, they're hardcore. Like they won Emmys for their work, everything. But he saw the video and he's like, I want to help you. And I was like, I'm like, thanks, but I can't afford it. He's like, no, I'm going to help you. Like I see the value and being able to help you do this. And that's when I realized, okay, you see, it's as scary as it is, you'll never know like who's watching, who's paying attention, and who's going to respond. And I've had a couple other people, same thing. They reached out and said, hey, let me help you with this. Rob was great. He reached out. He's like, let's get on a call. Let's talk about maybe ways that you can monetize the channel as well. So I'm thankful that I did that. And that's why I tell people like, hey, once again, nobody really knows the truth until you tell them. And I think that's another thing too. And I was talking about this with Russ earlier, that, you know, how many people think I'm like a millionaire or I'm rolling in the dough because I you know, have this presence on LinkedIn and I have a large following and all this engagement. I was like, that does not equate to money, folks. Like being an influencer, that doesn't mean that you're a wealthy person. And I don't consider myself an influencer, but it's funny how many people will think that I am. And because of that, I'm okay. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm actually going to have to get a full-time job. I'm in the process right now of talking to a company and going back full-time. Luckily, I'll be able to continue to do what I'm doing with youth empowerment because I'm getting better at the ask as well. This whole experience has given me a sense of confidence and understanding my value. So when I'm negotiating with this company, I'm telling them like, hey, if I'm going to come back into this industry and I'm going to work for you, these are under these conditions and these terms. And it's amazing how every one of them is being met so far. And I'm like really proud of myself, because before I think I would have just been like, it's a job, I'll take it, whatever I can get. And I'm like, no. Yeah. I need to be better at vocalizing what I want. And it doesn't make me an a-hole or, you know, biatch or whatever. Like it's just, right. You know, we all are allowed to do that. Like, I think too many of us, we've just been kind of like trained in our mind to think that like we don't deserve certain things. And that's how I have been my entire life. And finally, I'm like, no, there are things that I do deserve and that I've worked hard for and I've earned, you know, and I've earned it. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think those, and good luck with your job. Getting that job.
Thank you. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm literally at the point of like, I'm gonna have to start making phone calls and be like, "Can I borrow some money?" No joke. Just keeping it real.
Yes, and we love that you keep it real. Jim, what do you think about? It can be. I know I felt, especially on live shows at first, I felt weird about asking people for things. Like at the beginning when we started the show, I would have never played the video about the workshop coming up, right? Like I just feel kind of like salesy weirdo about it. But like, how do you feel now about asking people for whether it's like subscribers or if you have some course coming up or some, you do live stream producing? Like, how do you feel about talking about that and asking for support?
I still have problems with it.
Yeah.
Even though like I just put in the comments on LinkedIn, because I agree with Raquel. I'm like 6 subscribers short of 100 on YouTube, and I've posted it, a few times. It's like, come on, folks, can't I just get 6 more to get to 100 so I can?
Yeah, you can customize your URL.
Yeah, that's all I want. I'm not asking for you to have any money or watch my videos.
Yeah, I know. That's
I'd like you to.
Yeah,
I mean, it's funny.
I think it's also knowing that people, it's like they want, what are they going to get out of it? Like, and I think that sometimes that's like the hard part is like, they're like, okay, so I subscribe to your channel, so now what do I get? And that's like a tough one too, is that there are a lot of people out there that they're like, okay, well, I expect something in return. And sometimes it's like, hey, you know what? Like, this is just you just helping me, period. Like, no, like ulterior motive, like just help me out. And that's okay too. But yeah, it's amazing how many people like all you do is go to YouTube, hit subscribe, and you're done. But it's like even that is too difficult for a lot of people to do. I don't understand sometimes. And that's why I got frustrated in that video. And I said, I'm like, this is frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things. I think like I get most of my business through referrals. And so I think I think sometimes you feel like if you're asking, you feel like you're being salesy. And I get it that sometimes maybe you're really not, but I think that's definitely something that I would say I struggle with is, being out there and, it's like, hey, subscribe to this or do that. Cause I just feel like there could be people like, well, why? What's in it for me?
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, like I spoke about this earlier, where I'll hold myself accountable for the fact that I'm not as successful as I am, because I myself never used to do like a call to action. I didn't ask. I wasn't very clear about my services because it just didn't feel right for me. And I'm the one that suffered. It's because I didn't make the ask. And I'll own it. I'll totally own it. Like I suck at, at the whole like putting systems in place and being the business person, being the salesperson, because you always have to be a salesperson if you have a business.
Right.
And it just didn't feel right. So now with the youth empowerment, it's much easier for me to ask, because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about the kids. Mm-hmm. So I know that by me asking people to subscribe to YouTube, it's like, hey, I'm giving these kids a platform to speak and to be heard. And because of that, I feel like it's much easier for me to make that ask. If it were a YouTube, channel with just me, I think I probably would have never made a video like that, and I probably wouldn't be talking about it right now. But because at the end of the day, it's for somebody else, I can do it.
Thanks for sharing that, Raquel. I'm sure people are learning a lot from you today. Tell people how they can learn more about you, connect with you beyond the show.
Yeah, so I'm clearly on LinkedIn. You already put the YouTube link. Thank you for Raq the Boat. And then there's also RAQVISION, the youth social network, and that's www.raqvision.tv. And then I'm on Instagram as @Raquel.Borras. So that's and TikTok, which you can follow me on TikTok, but really you're going to be disappointed. Yeah, so those are the platforms and essentially how you can reach me. I'm pretty good at responding to my DMs on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Jim, do you have any parting words?
Oh no, this has been great. I mean, it was funny before the show talking with Raquel and seeing how much we have in common. I mean, it's a small world. So
It is a
It
small
is.
world, but once again, unless you like open up and share those things, you're not
Right.
going to be able to track those people that are like-minded or people that resonate with what you do. That's really important.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Raquel.
Thank you. Do I hang out in the green room?
Sure. Well, no, you can stay on.
Oh, I can. Oh.
We'll just stay live for 4 hours on LinkedIn because that's how long we can go.
I'm used
No, I'm
to
just
it.
kidding. This is not Shout Out Saturday. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of the Tim and Jim Show, and we will be back here next week for another episode. See you guys. Have a wonderful week. Bye.